Did you say astronomically or gastronomically, Jim?
Gastronomically.
Gastronomically. Yeah, you guys are doing food pairings on this next tour, right? Yeah, there you go. A little chef demo on the side of stage. I think it's very nicely. Hey guys, James Wilson-Taylor here for Rock Sound. Def Havana are back. There's a brand new single and a new album on the way, and I'm delighted to say that via Zoom we have James and Matt on the line right now. How are you, gentlemen?
Good, thank you.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, good to see you both. Good to see you both. So much to kind of talk about at the minute. Before we kind of get into it, I suppose, how are you guys feeling now that, you know, you've both been away from this for a little minute? It must be kind of weird, but nice to be back in the swing, kind of things actually starting to roll again in the world of Def Havana, right?
It's good, man. Like it gives me a reason to like wake up again, which is always nice. No, I'm joking. But it does feel a bit weird, but
yeah, it's good. But I've got a little bit of anxiety having the thought of having to actually just do anything and again, really, like I don't know how it works. What's a gig?
I think we've all got that feeling at this point, right? After these last couple of years, we're all blowing the cobwebs away a little bit, man. But let's get to, like I say, really exciting times, a lot to get stuck into. Let's begin with the single, which by the time people are seeing this, people will be able to go in here and check out. It's called Going Clear. I'll start with you, James. You know, I know this has taken on a bit of a different meaning for you and obviously very, very personal story. But from what I understand, you've kind of had at least some kind of idea of what this song would be for a little while now, right?
yeah. So when were we? I think it was, when did we release Rituals? 2017 or 2018?
2018.
Yes,
Way too soon, baby.
So I've had this song since, not this whole song, but like a verse and a half and a chorus since maybe winter of 2018.
You sent it to me in August of 2019, I remember.
Did I? No, okay, well perhaps I had it then, but I'm not, basically I've had it for ages. So yeah, initially like I didn't really know what it was for. I think we were getting pushed a bit to write new songs after Rituals. So I think I tried it for that, but then I just forgot about it and went off it. And then yeah, it turned into a song that I actually like now, which is always a bonus.
Yeah,
always a good thing. Yeah,
I remember I thought it was the best sort of rock song you'd written, I think, at the time, and it basically kept me wanting to be in the band for the next couple of months.
It's a lot more interesting now though. It's got like when I initially wrote it, it was literally just like chords and a basic drum part. Now it's actually like a song, and it's a lot more interesting.
Yeah, and it's definitely very reflective of the kind of record as a whole, really. I mean, we can talk about the themes and stuff in a minute and the things that kind of been going on with the band as a whole, but like just musically, I've listened through to this whole record, man. It's like a different band in a lot of ways. There's definitely elements of you guys, and you can definitely cite moments in the past that are in here, but my God, you're really playing with like a really guitar-driven big. I hate using the word anthemic because it's overused, but my God, it's anthemic, man. There's big sing-along choruses throughout this. It's really exciting. You know, when did, I guess, that sound or wanting to push towards that side of what you guys have done, when did that start to click?
I don't really know, because
it just sort of came out, I think.
Yeah, it did come out, because the first song we had for this, before we even decided we were going to do an album or anything, Matty had written 19 Dreams, which is track 2. And that has a big chorus. It's probably bigger now because we've just like, obviously, when you record an album properly, it sounds better than the demo. Normally.
Well, it sounds better than the stuff I've recorded through a shoebox, basically, at home. Yeah, brilliant.
But yeah, I think it was just like a natural, I think our songwriting has just evolved into that naturally happening because we've just done it for a fair amount of time. But I don't really know, like, because there's moments on there which are the least anthemic we've ever had, I think. Like there's some understated choruses and there's some bits really intricate, and that comes from a lot comes from Matty. But I don't know, I think it all happened. We wrote it so quickly that it kind of just, it took on shape very quickly, I think. And I think, but the first one we really thought about as anthemic was a song called On the Wire. When we wrote that, we were like, okay, don't know what this is. I couldn't figure out if it sounded like Kings of Leon or if it sounded like Katy Perry or both. I don't know what it was. It just came out and I love it now.
Yeah, no, I hear a lot of like Foo Fighters style on there. I know I've obviously been an influence on you guys in the past, but like it's definitely that big driving guitar rock sound, which is really nice to hear from you guys. And like you say, haven't heard in a minute. And I guess that's maybe a good place to start in terms of talking about where you guys are at now. Is going back to Rituals for a minute, because I know that you guys, I don't want to say mixed opinions on it among the band camp, but you certainly have strong opinions about what worked and what didn't. But what's fascinating about it is that it spawned a lot of your biggest moments as a band, you know, the Brixton gig and like big festival moments, a big radio play and all this kind of stuff. And there's definitely so much to like about that record, as I've told you guys at the time. I guess the question is, when you were going into this new record, what were the positives and what were the things that you took away from that experience that have kind of fed into what you're doing now?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch really. Like I credit a lot of what I've learned about songwriting from that time and the way we approached that then, and both good and bad, and just learning a bunch of things, but also about how, like, because when you make a record, that's like your time. It's like a stamp in time that you're then going to live in for a bit, if you know what I mean. That's going to be what you tour and what all your conversations with lovely people like yourself are going to be about, right? And Rituals, whilst having its moments whilst we made it, it was quite a negative period still, and I feel like that inevitably kind of seeps through and keeps going, if you know what I mean. And that's kind of the direct antithesis to what it was like making this record, where we were just focusing on pretty much the joy of getting lost in the songs that we had and trying to make them the best they could be. Whereas like so much of Rituals was just shoving it together to make sure we hit a deadline.
Exactly that. This was the absolute opposite of that. And another big thing for me was I wanted to use real instruments again, because like on Rituals, yeah, there's moments of it which I love and I do like the songs, but it's all computer based. Like even the guitars are probably digital. The synths are all plugins, digital plugins. There's no real like outboard gear. Whereas this is all, apart from one or two things, this is all like real synths where we manually fucked with the controls and stuff. And it's just, can I swear?
Yeah, of course you can swear. Yeah, it's the internet, man. There's no rules. You're fine.
Yeah, so this was just, I just wanted it to sound a bit more like substantial and a bit more earthy. I don't know how to describe.
I'd use as well, Jim. Yeah. Well, I reckon there's probably on each song more synths than there were on Rituals, but they are like actual instruments. But like, I mean, what's the doing anything if you can't learn from it one way or another? I guess. And the further we've got from it, I feel like the more we have learned and are still learning from Rituals, really.
Yeah, it's funny how you say like more grounded and earthy, because James, as you just said a minute ago, this came around quite quickly. It sounds like there were quite quick sections, you know, and to be able to achieve something that you guys are proud of that kind of sits there in a bit of a weightier mood set. It doesn't necessarily always happen when you're able to really hit the ground running at that kind of top speed.
Yeah, so let's not confuse quick with rushed. Like
that's the phrase. There it is.
Yeah.
Rituals was quick, but it was also rushed. There was not a single point in this writing or recording process where either Matty or I felt like we needed to meet a deadline. We tried stuff, didn't work. We tried other stuff, did work. Like there was no rush to get this finished. And also you got to bear in mind that like the whole time that we were broken up pretty much, Matty had been writing. So Matty had a couple of finished songs already. And I wrote, there's a song called Nevermind, and I wrote it really, really quickly. So we I think like a lot of, I don't know what it was, but like something happened. We were just in the right place mentally, and it just came together naturally and really quickly.
Yeah, well, we've definitely gotten into a groove of working and like making the most out of the hours in each day.
Yeah.
But for me, the main thing was that we were going in, we were confident with the songs and so we knew that realistic, like there are a few songs we completely redid, but melodies for the most part and structures stayed the same. We just changed like what we did with them, a few tempos, whatever. And so that was never like, that's like the foundations of a building. Like we never had to structurally like
mess with
take it back to zero and change that. We knew we had like good songs really, according to us. And so that gave us a real solid base to just play around. as James said.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. You can certainly hear that kind of playfulness in there. It's you know, it's got some very heavy moments both lyrically and musically, but there's a lightness of touch to a lot of this as well, which is really, really nice to see. And I think that's certainly a testament to the fact, you know, you've alluded to it already. You guys are in a very good place now, and you've been very, very open, even in the little statements that have been put out about that it's been a rough few years. You know, it really has been, you know, some darker moments in there. And obviously we're looking at a very different lineup of the band now too. I guess my question there is, you know, talk to me about really the place you guys are at now, because it feels like you really have overcome those obstacles and are in a kind of healthy place. Talk to me, I guess, about that, and I guess about rebuilding that confidence as a duo now, effectively.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of mine came from reducing and then stopping drinking, because I had to sort of like learn to do stuff again. And when you learn to do stuff without the false confidence of drugs or alcohol, it builds actual confidence and actual self-belief, which I've never had before. So a lot of the reason why I feel so confident is because I know I did everything in a clear head. I did everything in my right mind, and it worked out better than ever before. And I'm more proud of it because of that. So a lot of my personal reason for being in a much better headspace is because of that. In terms of going forward as a duo, in the studio, it was pretty easy because like me and Matty historically have pretty much written everything anyway. And a lot of the time it was just me and him in the studio anyway. So it wasn't that different, but live, we don't really know what we're going to do. We're going to like, we have some people in mind to come and help us out and play with us. But as far as we're aware, it's just going to stay officially us. So we'll just get like friends or session musicians to come and help us live.
Yeah, it's exciting to see how it develops, man. It really is. And it's going to be interesting with those live shows. We know we've got a slam dunk lined up at the very least, which obviously has been very good to you boys in the past. You know, that's got to be a nice place to have, you know, that spot in the calendar again, right? Yeah,
definitely. And I said this to someone yesterday, like it feels, it's pretty familiar because we've been there so many times. So it's a nice, like, if that is a comeback show or whatever, like it's a nice, welcoming, warm place, you know?
Yeah, definitely a good place to start things back up there for sure. In terms of the album, another question I have, you know, I always ask people about this, but I'm genuinely fascinated by album titles. I love to know why people choose those phrases to sum up a new era. So, The Present is a Foreign Land. Talk to me, boys. Why was that the phrase you think sums up this collection of songs?
Well, that's the title of, well, it's the title track as well. And that was one of the songs that I'd written and like previously before we even knew we were going to do anything. And the more I got into it, the more I was like, oh no, this would work as a Death Havana song, if like it really would. And then we got to doing it, and I just it was a phrase that just kept going around in my mind to really describe how I felt about everything, and how I felt really baseless and disconnected from everyday life and confused and just not really understanding anything like at all. And I don't know, I don't think I'm alone in that. I mean, maybe all periods of time are as strange and transient as this one, but I do feel like potentially this is particularly fucking odd. And I don't know, it just really seemed to encapsulate it, and so much of what we inevitably write about is bridged in the past, I guess. And I don't know, it just felt interesting to look somewhere else, I guess. I'm rambling.
It's good. I also think that even if you don't know what it's about or what it means to us personally, just based on like COVID, everyone can relate to it, because
oh god, yeah,
the rules are constantly changing. We have no idea what we're doing, and that is essentially what that title means, I think.
Here's what I want to kind of leave you with, boys, is that is really what the kind of grander ambitions are and grander plans, because I've seen you say in these kind of early press releases and stuff that as much as this is, I mean, it's just so great to see you guys as happy and as healthy as you are and in this kind of really, really positive place. But beyond that, in terms of band ambitions, you've clearly got those ambitions that you want to go bigger, don't you? You want this to be a bigger moment, right? Talk to me about what the kind of aims are for getting on those bigger stages and everything.
Well, they're exactly that. I want to get on bigger stages. I want to grow it worldwide. I want to try and just, it's basic. It's a basic want and a basic ambition, but I just want to attract more fans wherever we possibly can. And now I'm more focused and more positive and actually up for it. Whereas before I was just there for the ride, really. But now I have an actual.
There's a focus that we've got now, I think, that has been lacking.
But yeah, the goal is that this becomes the biggest album and we have like a later in life. I always get depressed. I'm like, I'm 31 now. Matty's not very old. He's still has youth on his side, but I'm 31. I'm like, shit, if we were going to make it, we would have by now. But then I found that these websites online listing people that got famous after like 35. And I was like, okay, maybe we can still do it. So if I'm thinking like big, my ambition is that this becomes the biggest record and we get astronomically bigger off this.
It's good to have that drive. It's not just about focus, isn't it? It's the drive and the ambition.
Did you say astronomically or gastronomically? Yeah.
Gastronomically.
Gastronomically. Yeah, you guys are doing food pairings on this next tour, right? Yeah, there you go. A little chef demo on the side of stage, I think is very nicely. It's what the people have been wanting for so long. Boys, congrats on this record. Truly, genuinely. It's really nice to hear what you guys have been achieving. I'm looking forward to these live shows, looking forward to seeing what form they take, and we will catch you at Slam Dunk, if not before, all right?
Amazing.
Thank you very much, man.
Nice, man.
Good to see you, boys. James and Matt, everybody.